So this week on Dietitian Life, we talk about performance reviews, two-way feedback, we talk about team culture, and being too rigid in a consult.
Check it.
Yes. Whatever.
Hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dietitian Life, where we tell you about our weeks. So we started in Melbourne last Saturday. So after our Dietitian Life last week.
We actually went somewhere together this time, and then he exited stage left very quickly.
What?
We travelled somewhere together, so it was cool.
Oh, we travelled. Oh, okay, yeah. So we travelled on the flight together. I thought you were talking about the fact that we got 3-4 managers there all at once.
Well, that too. It was good.
So yeah, we're all in Melbourne together, which is cool. We'd never actually travelled and been in the same place at the same time, so that was fun. It was a Christmas in July type celebration. Try and create a bit of team culture and fun. Introduce a new team member, so it was good.
Which you spoke quite a lot about at length.
What, on Snapchat?
Mm.
Yeah. And
pretty much around how it actually is kind of important to actually have a bit of fun with the team, because most of the time is spent having serious conversations or conversations about clients or work, and you don't actually get to know the people that you work with unless you hang out with them in a non-work space all the time. So it can actually be really valuable to get people a little bit on the tipsy side if they do drink. We're not alcoholics, but it obviously helps the flow of conversation. Yeah,
especially to break down that barrier of boss versus friend or colleague, which I think everyone kind of struggles with, but we actively try in those situations. Peter definitely tried a lot at the Melbourne party, which was good.
Do I not normally?
Yeah. So just to give you a bit of an idea, the girls downstairs were just having a bit of a joke as I flew down there about you on the Instagram and Snapchat. Just about, were you tipsy, Peter? Were you drinking? Yes, she was.
I know, you had to actually tell me to slow down a little bit. He gave me like the eyes over the table. He's like, what? I'm having a good time. You're clearly not.
Oh, get out. It was fun. It was fine. She knew. Like, I think you stop yourself. I don't care. You can drink till your heart's content.
Yeah, no, I stopped myself.
You can vomit over the veranda. I don't.
No, I need to find my way home in Melbourne, which was always a disaster.
Yeah, you had a lot of good fun with that this week. But so basically it was really good. Had dinner, had drinks, went to casino, went to some random bar, saw some really weird dude.
The guy with the stabbing knife?
Yeah. The guy with a knife in the club, like he was just sitting there by himself, and we initially was sitting next to him. He was just by himself and we needed the room. And then, we got up.
Dancing.
He was beating his...
He was doing that.
He was doing that a lot, and then we were sitting somewhere else, and then I just saw it out the corner of my eye, like pulled out a knife, and then started doing that.
It wasn't like a little butter knife. It was a pretty aggressive thing.
Yeah, it was definitely a steak knife. And
the worst part was we all sat around him to start because there was no space, and we thought we'd just sort of fill in and he'd move out, but he didn't. He was just there in his own space doing the heart. Music's getting to me type vibe.
And then we told the barman, and that he had a knife, and the guy just came over and said, "Oh, can you put the knife away?" Didn't kick him out, just let him put the knife back in his pocket, and it's like, okay, so we're leaving. So I think we finished our drinks after that and left. But anyway, that's a bit of a roundabout story. Other than that, Peter was in, she can talk about that, she was in Melbourne. I was smashing out work here, so pretty much got 2 pages again this week, which was good. So we did a lot of scholarship interviews actually on Monday.
That was really fun.
So got to meet them. It was very awkward at times because we're trying really hard not to react and give anyone anything extra or any extra opportunity to win. We wanted an even playing field. So we struggled with that because we're used to interviewing people and having conversation when we're hiring, but this is kind of more of a structured kind of question, get an answer, done, move on. And it was 15 minutes, so it was just 8 questions we did. 7 were general, and then 1 was a clinical question. We plan on doing a special video for those people that are interested in feedback around that scholarship, and then how to probably position yourself well for the future ones that we do. I think we've got some good insight. And
a little taster is say something that we don't expect, because it really breaks up the interview monotony. And there was quite a few of that, which was really good to see. And it was really cool to meet some new grads that are keen and have life and excitement when it comes to their pending careers. So that was, for me, that was actually probably a really cool thing.
Yeah, that was good. Other than that, talking to people about different contracts, we're trying to organise student kind of group. I'm actually launching.
If you haven't seen, Aidan Muir, one of the managers for Dietitian for Fuel Your Life, he has put up a bit of a come get us, come put your hand up and volunteer to work for us as a student on LinkedIn.
I've also started a Facebook group that's called Lifers Group. So you can search it now. I only launched it this morning. Peter doesn't even know about it. I've got to get the design done, but that is launched now, and that's somewhere where we're going to create kind of a community platform where you can ask questions in a private group, so you don't have to post publicly, and only have dietitians or student dietitians there, so you have to show proof of enrolment or graduation in there. So just
and that stems from your and our conversation a lot around people being afraid to ask questions, particularly in a space where they might feel a little stupid or they might be judged, I guess, so it might work, it may not, but get around it.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully people can open up a bit more, but we'll be moderating it pretty heavily, so if anyone's saying anything dodgy or not providing support in the right way, they'll be booted. So we're just keep an eye on it, but we're just creating another avenue for you guys to kind of ask questions and get support from not only us, but other peers and other dietitians in the industry. So as well as that, we will be advertising different positions on there. So as we get new positions, but also work experience opportunities, and it gives other people the opportunity to ask for work experience or to advertise work experience. And then on top of that, we're also updating the Dietitian Life website to have a careers page. So this is where you'll be able to list a job if you are a dietitian and you're looking for people, or list work experience, and at the same time for students or dietitians to look on there for jobs, just another avenue.
We've been trying to get that over the line for a while, so listening to Tyson say that for me, I was like, yes, finally. These ideas you have, and they were like, okay, take a little while, and it gets there, and you're like, yes.
Yeah, so that should be up on Monday or Tuesday, but hopefully it's up by the time you watch this, actually. So if it's not, hit us up directly and go, what the hell? Where is it, Tyson? And then I'll light a fire. So do that. So I guess exciting things happening for Dietitian Life there, and we're hiring for Fuel Your Life at the moment in Central Coast and in areas of Melbourne, as well as Mackay, like we've talked about previously. So if you are interested in any positions, just hitting us up and just saying, hey, I'll work for you here, or I'll work for you anywhere, and we can sort that out. Other stuff that I've done performance reviews as previously. I've just typed them up and sending off the confirmed kind of performance review to them to give them a bit of a benchmark of where to go. Performance reviews are really good in that way to give you an idea of where you're at, but then where you're going. And even though we give feedback as we go, like continuous feedback, and I believe that wholeheartedly over all right, let's wait 12 months and then do a performance review and then I'll give you feedback. Like, I reckon that's bullshit, especially this day and age. So,
but it also gives people the opportunity to give you feedback.
Yes.
And their managers feedback as well, so it is a little bit two-way.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like people are always scared to give that feedback as you go, like in terms of staff to boss or manager. So this gives a formalised.
I don't even think it's that at times. I just think you don't really put thought around it, and maybe
you don't think people are scared.
Maybe don't have the space to have that conversation. So I think it's a bit of both. I probably would give you feedback.
You give me feedback.
But
You're
I
different.
didn't in the performance review.
No.
So I don't like that situation. So some people might feel more obliged to say things in that professional setting versus ongoing, and then obviously it gives that opportunity. Yes, I definitely agree with you. There's the, imminent amount of fear that could potentially be part of it as well.
Yeah, people think that giving feedback or we talked about earlier, showing that weakness of asking questions is going to result in them losing their job. And it's just not the case. Like, we welcome that wholeheartedly, and I think most, or any good manager anywhere will welcome that because they want to improve it and make things better for their staff, but also for their business. So yeah, I think it just provides that opportunity. So I think they're a good idea, but at the same time, I'm in Peter's boat and she hates them. She doesn't like the formalised things. She likes just general stuff, and I'm much the same, as long as there is the general stuff. So if you have a manager that doesn't really give that open feedback, or doesn't give you an opportunity to give you that feedback, then this creates a specific opportunity to achieve that. So I guess it goes both ways. Also been booking flights because my life's about to get chaos, to Townsville, Perth. I'm still trying to figure out, Peter and I are trying to figure out when I'm going to Central Coast, Albury and Wagga. And then I've also got to go to Toowoomba. Went to Harvey Bay on Thursday, saw a practitioner up there, so it's a 3-hour drive each way. Yeah, business, life. Your go.
The week for me has been filled with a lot of highs and then some pretty terrible fucking lows. So I feel like it's been bipolar, really. So I had my first couple of nights to myself consecutively since I've had my daughter, which was really good. The first day was a little challenging. It's just don't expect for feelings to be there, and yeah, I think I coped pretty well.
As in missing your child?
No, just the thought that she was going to be a fair distance away. Yeah, and I couldn't actually then be there if something went wrong or if she needed me or whatever, but whatever, moved past that relatively quickly. Kept myself pretty busy. Had some really awesome meetings with a few people outside of Fuel Your Life, so that was really good. Met with a lady who is like a business owner. She works for herself with her husband. She engaged with us, really liked what Tyson was doing. I just often come along with it, so I decided I would go and meet her, and she was amazing, really inspirational, and I'm not really one of those people that is all around girl power and, oh, you're so good. However, she was lovely and just wanting to make a difference, but on a broader scale, but she's been at it for a hell of a lot longer than what we have been. However, like us, likes to connect with people on the same level, so we talked a lot about how you and the company could try and work together to improve stuff and also work towards her mission. She works with the Obesity Coalition. She has her voice and her face out there on all media levels and gets herself in trouble a lot, so probably feels our pain a little bit, but we're probably not out there a lot in that sense as much as we would like to be. So that's where I'll sort of throw myself in there. She's also working on some programs which we could potentially be involved in as well. So generally going to continue to hit her up over the next coming weeks and months before I can actually say anything about what we might or might not do. I met with a couple of people that we've been working with to try and partner and organise some clients and some referral base within the AS. It was a bit of a hit, unfortunately, for dietetics. Pay attention, even though we are there and we should be, it is not the smooth sailing transition as it was, I suppose, outlined it could be. And it could literally be a little bit region specific. I'm still trying to work that out. However, dietetics, we don't advocate a lot. I think this is a new space and something that we need to probably fly the flag for a little bit more, and maybe something that I'm going to be doing myself. If you're interested, hit me up if you want to know more about it. If you want to join the fight, I think that's probably a good thing because I think we will need it. But yeah, just being underutilised in the disability sector as per usual with a lot of things, unfortunately. So that was good though. Definitely need to hear these things and know about what's happening because we're not actually involved at the forefront. So it was good to speak to the plan managers and people that are obviously working in that space. So they were my meetings. So they were the goods and they were the lows. I got to shadow and meet a couple of practitioners that work for us in Vic. again, same thing, awesome highs and again another low, but that's okay. It's just sort of rolls over that, doesn't it? Yeah. Feedback from those sort of sessions. Probably a big one would be around listening to the client and taking every client as an individual versus trying to do the same thing for every single person.
Yeah, we all talk about this whole individualized treatment and not a one size fits all. But saying that and doing that are two different things.
Yeah, and it's actually a real thing. So let's say, for example, you've learnt a new strategy, you think it's going to make an amazing difference for everybody, and you try and utilize that strategy for
Just
everybody.
a bit like, if you did a non-diet diet thing and then all of a sudden everyone needs to be that. Or if it's the opposite and it's just like you do a meal planning thing and then all of a sudden everyone needs that exact meal plan in that way. It's just like...
And I think it revolves a lot around flexibility. Still, as dietitians, we have this intention. We go in every time about this plan, this is what we're going to do. Generally, those dietitians that don't structure their sessions that way are not typical dietitians. Me, and maybe a couple of other practitioners in the company, and even just time and experience, you'll flex a little bit. But generally, as new graduates, you go in and this is the same. If I don't get these answers, if I don't ask these questions, then the consult's not going to be good. However, flexibility is so important because what if something's going on? What if the dog's jumping around? What if the family member's there? What if they haven't filled in the food diary for you?
What if they just got news yesterday of something else?
Yeah, what if they've got cancer all of a sudden? I know that's quite a barren thing, but I was having a conversation about it yesterday, so it was in my brain. Yeah.
And I think the other side of the coin, like it's important to have some structure, especially as a new grad, in terms of what you're going to go through. Like Peter can talk about now that she just doesn't have much of a structure going in and can handle anything that gets thrown at her, and that's sweet, but she still has a loose structure around, you know, the collection of information and the delivery of recommendations that are targeted to the individual. So as a new grad, a lot of the time you can forget those things, and that's why I think people, they overdo it and like they don't want to forget anything, so they're just like so rigid. But it's having a structure, but then having the alternative of all right, so if this doesn't happen, it's okay. I get to flex too.
And learning when the conversation comes to a natural end, and you acknowledge that and you end it there. And particularly around a consult as well too. For some clients, it's really hard to actually get them to talk. For others, they talk too much. So there's this fine line that you want to continue to engage them, and other times that they talk so much you just need to shut them off. And that's the same around collecting all the information that you think you need to collect, that inflexibility. And so therefore, once that natural conversation has come to an end, you've summarised a couple of things, you then follow up with more questions. There's a lot of those moments. So
move on, what's the value?
Yeah.
I guess with every consult, you got to think about, is there value in me asking this? Whether it be for clinical reasons or it could be a relationship-based one in building the relationship with the client. But if there's no value, why bother? You're just going to create inefficiencies and it's just going to be weird and awkward sometimes. So yeah, I think it's like structure, but then finesse, and then it is things that you learn over time, but it's being conscious that you need to learn it, not just like, all right, this is how I've always done it, this is the way I'm always going to do it. I think, yeah, the flexibility is important.
Yep, 100%. So I guess that's
natural end of conclusion.
that's the evaluation of that for me. I've also been busy doing a lot of emailing to try and get some clinics off the ground for a couple of practitioners. So one contract signed this week, which is really exciting for one of our members. Another one nearly over the line, same thing, so that's really good.
I've met with someone we've got another meeting this afternoon with someone that might be selling their business that hit me up, and then someone else locally that kind of were thinking about it and wanting to work for us in terms of support. And then I had another person yesterday hit us up from another organisation that, yeah, they were looking for someone that does things the way that we do them and the way that we support our staff and that kind of thing, which is really awesome to kind of see that it's kind of going outside of our organisation. So it's really positive. It's not all going to be positive forever, and I'm sure there's some people that was like, nah, never do that, but then others that are really advocating for us, so it's really cool. So some of those conversations were a bit random, but in terms of me, in terms of buying a business, I'm always open to having the discussion, but there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't recognize when they're selling a business that I would need to know to buy a business. that can cause a bit of, I guess, friction because you're constantly asking questions like, oh, why didn't you know that? Why didn't you know that? It's like, well, you want me to buy it? Because I need to know if this is worthwhile. I don't want to just give you money for nothing. So the one this afternoon will probably be a bit of an in-depth conversation. We'll see where that goes. I might update you next week. I don't have the highest of hopes, but who knows? It could be amazing. And next week I'm a new business owner. But yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. And Tyson and I need to have a good catch up to gather all of our thoughts.
She's putting it on here to make sure it happens.
Yeah, 100%. Because there's so much good stuff that's floating around. We've been really secular lately, just sort of focusing on on this. So in order for us to be feeling positive and enthusiastic and engaged like the student dietitians, it's important to have those moments where you just sit, level out the ideas, and then continue to push for the future. I think that's really important for me, you as well. So, but there's lots of good stuff that's happened this week, heaps. So it's good. It's been a good week, really.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned next week and join that Lifers page. Search it now. It's definitely worthwhile. There's no loss to you. So do it. There's going to be work experience and job opportunities advertised through there, and stay tuned next week, if not this week, around that careers page on the Dietitian Life website. Check it. See you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel down there.
Do it.